Charles Ross, welcome back by
Guy
public
Anderson,
demand. How are
it.
you?
I am very excited to chat with you again. I've had enough time to find more things to more topics of conversation. This time on the Eastern Front of World War II. I'm going to try to focus on some interesting events that are definitely not in the mainstream and have never been a part of our sort of facts about this period of time, the 1940s, late 1930s. But I'm very excited to see you again. How are you? How have you been?
Yeah, I'm good, thank you. Yeah, been busy. I just released my latest book, so I've been quite occupied with that. So that's going really well. But yeah, and I'm preparing now. We've got a big event coming up, second weekend in September, and that's organised by Danny Henderson. So going to be talking at that. We got Billy Carson and David Icke talking as well. David opens it. I'm on after him. So that's nerve wracking because he's a big act to follow. So yeah, still very very busy, but well, tired but well.
That is amazing. So you're pretty much dealing with you're now rubbing shoulders with the super elite, I think, right? When it comes to conspiracy theories and alternative history.
Well, I've said this before. It's a little bit, it's a bit overwhelming. Um, Danny Henderson is a huge supporter of my work, and she's put on this event, wanted somebody to speak about Tartaria, and
Yeah,
she asked me, and I was taken aback, but very very humbled by it, and I
yeah,
certainly I'm certainly going to be nervous going on after David. Obviously, I've spoken to David a couple of times, and I'm actually interviewing him on Tuesday, doing a live show with him on Sean Atwood's channel.
wow,
But nevertheless, it's still quite a daunting thought to go on a stage after David has just come off. And then, of course, Billy
yeah.
Carson, who I've been following for a very long time. So, it'd be wonderful to meet everyone. And it'd also be nice because I've had quite a few messages from people saying that they've got tickets and they're going, and it'd be nice to meet them. It'd be really nice to meet them. But a lot of my effort and energy at the moment has been on putting my new book out there, The Grim Origins of Children's Stories.
Yeah.
Yes, taken a lot of my time. What about your end, though?
Yeah.
What's new? What's new with you? Apart from research, what else have you been up to?
No, yeah, you've really helped connect me with some incredible minds. Like I've been very busy. I've been podcasting almost every week. I've met some, yeah, amazing people. I've been on so many shows I don't even remember all the names. Like, but I love being able to go over like the basic talking points, the basic kind of theories, and it's nice to have people who sort of want to kind of contribute in a certain way, who want to kind of give me more clues. I think it's like a snowball effect. Like everyone's pretty much picking up these very interesting kind of missing links because we can all be researchers. We all have incredible tools now at our disposal. Yeah, I was on for Forbidden News, which was pretty good.
Oh, fantastic!
Really enjoyed chatting with him. I also know that you've been under attack now. You've started to have a few people that have mentioned you and people that you've spoken to, and I think this is something that is almost we have to view being under scrutiny as a type of a medal of kind of honor in this field because when you get noticed, you will have people that criticize you, and I have been used to negative comments and I've been used to people like giving me a hard time, but I think as you kind of ascend into this kind of higher kind of echelon of consciousness and you start to put pieces together more easily because you've learnt those methods of research. I think you will. Some people will not like that, and I think that we will start to become under attack for our theories. But people don't realize that if you attack someone for their simply their ideas, their concept, their theories, everybody should be free to speak on anything, because that's what differentiates a free society from basically a dictatorship or communism, or which
Yeah.
which goes against human nature. Yeah, I mean, I have noticed that as you gain more sort of like a higher frequency, you also get attacked more because you've stuck your head
Yeah.
out, to some extent.
Yeah, that's one of the dangers. And I think a lot of people saw that during the pandemic.
Mm-hmm.
I certainly did. I said a few things online that, some people didn't take the right way, um, because people had so much faith in what they were being told, by the media, and also
Yeah.
by the, by the National Health Service and the World Health Organization. People had so much belief in what was being, the propaganda that they were being subjected to. When somebody goes against it, it can be, it can be difficult for a lot of people to accept. So instantly, you're crazy, you're a tinfoil hat wearer,
Yeah.
and it's just something that you kind of, I suppose, end up getting used to an extent. But sometimes it can get a little bit much. But you're quite right. What we've got to do is consider everybody's opinions and consider everybody's research. Actually, I'm going to be putting a post up when this goes out. It'll have already gone up. This is a post I'm going to be putting up with some information someone shared with me, just a thought they had of Tartaria disappearing because of a timeline shift. So
Yeah.
what's left is a Mandela effect. People that survived remembering something different to the history that they were presented with, and as a result they go into the asylums and so on, and the ones that become a little bit more aggressive about what's happened in their minds, they obviously go to prison. So and I thought, well, a timeline shift, the Mandela effect, could that be a possible cause of Tartaria being removed, and what we're left with these maps, certain documents, architecture and so on, are they residue of the shift? And then that I started thinking about, well, if the capability CERN has to cause a pole shift, could it at the same time have caused a timeline shift? So that's then created this kind of Mandela style effect, and that was how Tartaria was removed. Now, when she said this to me this morning, I thought, well, I don't think so. And the more I've thought about it, the more I thought, well, okay, that's something that we should consider, not something that we should just dismiss. So I thought I would put it out there, and obviously let everybody know, that this wasn't my idea, because someone else has taken a lot of thought into this. So again, it's one of those weird proposals, if you like, that could cause people to laugh, and you obviously get you get some people, for whatever reason, that they need to laugh or leave silly comments and so on. And I do my best with those, on my own page on YouTube and in the Facebook group Tesla and the Cabbage Patch Kids. I do my best to try and keep people like that away, so everybody can speak freely without fear of being ridiculed or attacked by other people, because we just don't need that. Just don't. Nobody needs that, but nevertheless, it's quite a controversial proposition, isn't it? Could there have been a timeline shift, and what we're left with is residue, and people, the survivors from Tartaria or the old world experiencing some kind of Mandela effect, where they remember things differently?
Yes, I think that's definitely part of it. I mean, I think my greatest discovery recently, after speaking to a few people that have already been studying this and have had theories on this, especially Sasha Stone, who
Mm.
said that there were already sort of memories of Tartaria even when he was younger, and he heard it mentioned when he was speaking to various royal families that he was in contact with for his various kind of New Earth projects, and to him, this was just something that happened, and he just wanted to relate to me some of his past experiences. But that really had like a real shock. That was like very shocking to me because I had someone else from Jordan, specifically that country, come to Taiwan and talk to me about this too. So now there's two people from a tiny country who have mentioned that, and I started to think, well, this is some kind of weird coincidence, but it could be memory, it could be ancestral connections, it could be just a divine kind of intuition. But this is happening so much now. Even if I had never researched Tartaria before, and I just happened to speak to Sasha Stone about anything really, yeah, would he have still mentioned that? Maybe not. But the person from Jordan who was here in Taiwan mentioned it long before I did research with Tartaria. Long before he mentioned certain specific palaces that no one understood how to get to them. They were in the mountains. Nobody lived there. So whether we run away from this like almost water memory, this akashic sort of memory, this etheric, if you like, memory, I think it's just going to come back to it. Like that would have come to me anyway, no matter what my opinion was. You see, because if you're friends with a Jordanian prince, you're probably going to mention it because it's your conversation you had with him, because he's a prince, and it gives you like a claim to fame, maybe, or it's just wonderful conversation to have. I've met a prince once in my life, right?
Mm.
So that was so strange, and I think that we don't have a choice. There wasn't a choice. I don't think if you're really honest, did you have a choice about whether you were going to go into Tartaria? If you're
No,
really honest, I
no, I
don't think
didn't.
I had a choice. No, I had no choice here. Like I was going to see Roman buildings in East Asia, and I was going to be surprised. So I think there's this powerful illusion of choice that does motivate us. It makes us think we're in charge, but I don't think we are. So
I
I think we
agree.
just have to just let it go. Just try to let it go. Let your mind freely kind of wander and just accept all these thoughts that are coming externally. And I think you will end up in the same place anyway. But you might get there faster if you are not trying to control anything. If you're not trying to control the narrative or trying to control, how fast people are learning things about it. Yeah, yeah. So I think that's really exciting. The fact that we probably would have been here anyway, even if we hadn't given ourselves the permission to think we're in control. You know.
I do sometimes think that we are exactly where we are supposed to be. That there is an element of truth to that. I mean, a couple of years, well, 3 years ago, if you'd have asked me what I'd be doing right now, I would have assumed I would be, say, it's a Saturday afternoon. I would probably be packing up my tattoo equipment and getting ready to go home.
Yeah.
That's what I would have assumed I would be doing today. But for whatever reason, here I am, and I haven't tattooed now for I think it must be getting on for something like 18, 19 months, maybe slightly longer than that.
Mm.
And it's one of those things. The longer you leave something like that, the harder it is to pick up the kit and start again.
Yeah.
But like I said, I think we're where we're supposed to be, and I stumble across Max Egan. 5 minutes later, I'm obsessed, absolutely obsessed with Tartaria. I mean, why that? What of
Mm.
all the different conspiracy theories and rabbit holes to venture down? Why that one? And I now kind of understand why. But also it connects so many other things to it. Lots of other conspiracy theories, as we call them, are attached to Tartaria. So for me, it's not just a rabbit hole. Tartaria is almost like a linchpin that holds so many of them together, almost like a hub that so many of these other conspiracy theories. And it is, you know, a lot of people say, well, I don't like the term conspiracy theory or conspiracy theorist, but that's what they are. They're acts of conspiracy against us. So, you know, if you're researching an act of conspiracy, then you are investigating a theory, a conspiracy theory. You know, it does fit the bill, so to speak. But I understand that it can be viewed as a derogatory term, but it's a badge of honor as far as I'm concerned. But anyway,
it is. Yeah.
You've got some quite mind-blowing research to share with us today, haven't you?
Yes. I've discovered some interesting links, specifically on our entertainment industry and how it's been incorporating some actual factual or recording factual events that our governments probably don't want the public to know. I'm talking here of wars within the World War II narrative that occurred in the Arctic.
Now, before we hit record, I said to you, Arctic or Antarctic? And you said something I think that is worth sharing with everyone.
Yes. So I've tried to make a few like infographics to try to explain what I mean. This has been quite enjoyable. I'm going to just share one of those with you. So this is maybe going to ruffle a few feathers, but then everything we've done so far has been ruffling people's feathers. So let's just go for it. So
okay.
This is the Arctic, the highest central elevation on Earth. I have spent quite a lot of time on this. Not this particular infographic, but the concept of a central elevated Arctic. Many of the wars of World War II, the majority of them have not been accurately documented and have not been placed into movies accurately. The fear of putting the Arctic battles and Arctic missions into our mainstream media all originate with the simple fact that the Arctic, the frozen ocean, was conquered by the Nazis. Why do they call themselves Nazis? These are questions that most people would never ask themselves. We just accept that this is the German Empire. I mean, obviously, it's not a German empire at all. Modern day Germany probably has no real knowledgeable connection with this empire. This ancient, as we've discovered before, this ancient Germanic Moorish empire, which was Prussia, Russia, Crimea, and northern China, Mongolia. So this was obviously an ancient empire that very much still exists today, and they have what every battle, every war in the history of the human race has been desirous of, which is to own the high ground. It's not about resources or treasures or battle tactics. It's about owning the high ground. If you were to, and it's not about our connection with God. This is not like Luciferians trying to stop us connecting with God by telling us we live on a heliocentric, sphere or an oblique spheroid, as is the modern term. So where we live in in a large tree stump surrounded by these other lands, these green lands that we're told are frozen. And you can see that by expeditions by Colonel Byrd, that he found a landmass the size of the United States, right?
Yeah.
That was his the result of his expeditions. The expedition High Jump will confirm that too. There is an Arctic frozen elevated tree stump like mountain that we call the ice wall. It is not an ice wall. It is a central elevated mountain. It has many different names throughout almost every ancient civilization. It doesn't matter if you say Arctic or Antarctic. The National Nazi Party, they were only interested in controlling the high ground. From there, they would send out various flying troops. This is when you get all of that technology, like the Messerschmitt 262.
Yeah.
The other great aircrafts of the Third Reich, and the most important one, which I haven't spoken of yet, which is the storing energy mass, what we would call a UFO. So there was an operation where the Nazi or the German Empire were designing and flying these anti-gravity sort of Vimana like UFO flying saucers.
Yeah.
So this is called the repulsion type A UFO. That's what they were flying. The higher altitude, by the way, the more static electricity or etheric energy you would receive. So that's why the high ground is so valuable, because it's a high energy location. It's put some names in here: Alaska, Aleutian Islands. Some of these names have been removed, but every one of those explosions is a battle that we have never heard of. We've never heard about these battles. These are the battles that were led by the German, by a very famous German general called Hermann Hoth. Now, Hermann Hoth is a fascinating name, and I'm going to give people a little bit of time to think about why Hermann Hoth might be an important German commander. He served as a high-ranking Panzer commander, and he also commanded large robotic units, which I know seems like science fiction, but I have to say it because it came up in my research twice. The Wehrmacht during World War II were playing this very prominent role in this Eastern Front and the battle for the Arctic. The battle for the Arctic is the most important one. Once they controlled the Arctic, they didn't care that much about France. They didn't care that much about Poland. And in the end, I don't think they really cared that much. When they found what Colonel Byrd also found, they probably weren't that worried about what happened in Berlin. In fact, these were distractions in the end. So you have the Barents Sea. There was Murmansk, Kirkenes, Petsamo, and there must be families all over the world whose grandfathers were involved in these battles. And we have to look into this now. This is the beginning of the true awakening. Atu, Kiska. What are these? Why has AI given me these names of battles that I've never heard of?
Yes.
And why is Alaska next to Canada? That's another one. Okay, so we have this is the greatest truth that I think there is out of this World War II campaign. What do you think about that?
I think this is incredible. I mean, you blew my mind with what you told me before we hit record.
Yeah.
So do you think it's possible then that there has been a pole shift?
No, it's not.
So,
It's not
so,
possible. Yeah.
so then in this case, what we're looking at, this map is representing, would you say, in your opinion, the correct geography?
Yes, this is where we live. We don't live on that the Makeda, yeah, all of that. Like because of these battles. These battles couldn't have happened. There would be no reason for these battles to happen otherwise. I mean, you've got, why would you bring the commander of the Third Panzer Group to the Arctic? You're about
Yes.
to lose the war of the history of your nation.
Mm.
Operation Barbarossa. Why would that happen there? Why would the Fourth Panzer Army find themselves in the Arctic? What you do? Come on, because you're interested in whale oil. That's the narrative. That's the history. If you Google it,
That's
Hitler needed
ridiculous.
whale oil. That's insane. Like,
Yeah.
come up with a better story at least, And then
Mm.
you've got this advancing towards Moscow. Hitler would have never attacked Moscow. He was absolutely a student of Napoleon. He would never have followed in his footsteps, make the same mistakes. Yeah,
So
Stalin. Yeah, all of them.
so my reason for asking that was because of the positioning of Alaska.
Yeah, yeah. Well, yeah. But we just look. If we didn't know this, then we probably don't know quite a lot of things. I think there's a lot of flights that are also not
That's exactly what
going.
I'm thinking.
They're not
Yeah.
going in straight lines. I mean, they
No.
are definitely sticking to a very specific, well scripted plan
Yes.
to
So we can't
continue.
see. Yeah.
Yeah,
It prevents us from seeing any of these anomalies.
yeah. I mean, if you want me to put that map back up later, I can probably try to tell
Sure.
you where some of these battles happen. But for me, I think the biggest thing here is to try to understand who exactly Hermann Hoth was,
Mm.
why we don't know much about him, and why he was in command of one of the biggest three armies in the history of the German Reich, and why they ended up fighting for whale oil, which I don't think they were fighting for.
No.
Yeah, and I think Hoth is a clue, and
It's a
I
big
think
one.
I think Hoth is one of the biggest clues because it is mentioned in George Lucas's The Empire Strikes Back. And I have some incredible photos and plans, blueprints of some of the craft and some of the equipment that Hoth had under his command. Again, let people look into this for themselves to some extent. First of all, I'm probably just going to start off with who the main generals were. So here we have Hermann Hoth. Hoth is his name, Hoth. That is the Battle of Hoth. That is mentioned in Star Wars. Star Wars was written at the same time as these battles happened, and I think that is the recorded history. And I think I'm finding this with a lot of things, like The Wizard of Oz. And I think you posted something on Facebook a few days ago
Yeah.
on some of these fairy tales being actual recorded history and being kept safe and sort of out of our kind of consciousness by being recategorized as children's stories, which they're not. And I think you can go into so many of these fairy tales, and they're usually all about the same story. And
Mm.
and Hermann Hoth was this commander. There were others too, Heinrich. All of these people seem to be fascinated by a dead ice kind of wasteland and wanted to bring resources to that place. So he's like one of the top generals. Why would he be there? And
Mm.
yeah, and that was my starting point. I then went into deep diving every archive place from Telegram to Mega, the big archives, trying to find more maps of this location, to kind of see if actually ancient empires also are dedicated themselves to finding this, and there are many maps. So sometimes it's called the Antarctic, again Australia, Africa, South America. Sometimes the central place has other names like Rupus Nigra, Black Rock. Then we have
Black Rock.
of the Black Rock. So this approximate location of the Antarctic end zone. Supposedly, we have also the Hyperborean myths, which is also Hindustan. Like ancient Indian texts mention this place. We have this is very low resolution actually. Then we have it's called the end of the world sometimes, but it's like so this suit pole, so the Polaris kind of concept. This is a German map, and Antarctica being the high ground, and you see it in a lot of old maps. Like there's always this central four-headed river, looks like some kind of island, Babylon, Egyptus, Europa, Africa. So it's a very like popular place for people to sort of incorporate into symbolism and ancient empires. So it's very important. I don't know what it actually looks like, but according to some of the old sort of these Germanic Jacob's ladder parallels, where apparently it was a tree, or at least it was a large central dome that was the access to the higher world, and there are some people falling back down trying to get to the top. So this is also that central island. So it's like a lot of very interesting references. So and I think that's where this black sun comes from. And I think that this was religious. It's kind of like the Crusades finding and conquering Jerusalem on behalf of the church. The Nazi Empire, this national empire, I believe what they were trying to reconquer was their homeland. I think this is the origin. Yeah. So this is again German. It says the spirituelle Lehre, which is the lesson or the mythos. So the wheel of time. All time is controlled by the central island, and this is the greatest truth. And if the German Empire is in charge today, and they have pretended to have lost World War II, then surely this is the one thing they don't want anyone to know about. That's the truth. It's called Wahrheit, which Wahrheit literally means truth. So can we slow down time? Can we stop time? Is this the biblical sun stopping in the middle of the sky to help win a war? It says here that this is the final prophecy in the Bible. Whoever conquers this land, like this is a religion. This is not So who are the Nazis? Because they're not your average German, empire. This goes far beyond that. This is trying to remove Tartaria so that we don't find out it's the promised land Israel, so that they can build a new Israel. And the name Nazi actually in German is Nationale Zionist. So Nazi is a national Zionist, and this means that whoever you think is invading or bombing Palestine is actually the very empire that built it, that set it up. So I don't know if that's even really happening. Yeah.
So that's going to blow a few minds, isn't it? That's quite profound.
Yeah.
What you've said there, because that goes against the narrative in complete contrast.
It does, but all the secrets are there. All the technology was there, and this is where they found all of those amazing, these amazing technological advancements, where they were mirroring this electromagnetic spiral, and they came up with this. So we have done the stealth plane, and we've dealt with the Messerschmitt having the first invented jet engine, which is based obviously on the Hindustan Vermana carvings. and then obviously in Egypt they were already finding hieroglyphs that told them how to build all kinds of aircraft and helicopters and all kinds of crazy things,
Yeah.
and I think what they found in the Arctic was the maybe crashed versions of the Haunebu. Again, I never heard of this until I started looking into it. I didn't know that this would be at the end, almost like the pot of gold at the end of the rainbow. So, Haunebu 2 is the flying saucer. It's based on the spinning water, this piezoelectric water mechanism.
Uh-huh.
It was first explored by Victor Schauberger, and this is the aircraft. This is the final nail in the coffin. We are ruled by these people, whoever controls this technology now. This is a flying craft. It's an anti-gravitational device. I mean, if you looked into it, would you almost be able to prove that gravity is not an issue, that it's really just magnetism and electricity? Yeah, but I don't know why this. I mean, is this fantastical? Is this a little bit too fantastical? But yeah, I don't know what is going on with this. I don't know what this is. I don't even. I'm trying to understand this. Oh,
So
this was
you've just come across this by this guy.
yes.
What's his name? Michael Christopherly.
Michael Christopherly is only. I've only found him on what's the app called? One of my favorite apps now, Telegram, and so he's basically saying that the central part has a circular walkway. Now I've seen that before in the police boxes in Doctor Who, where there's this central control panel and then people are walking in circles. That's the first
Yeah.
thing that I thought. Now I think that means that there's space underneath the walkway for water to be directed in different, or maybe mercury, so that it can fly, so that it doesn't rely on any kind of energy. Now you can do that with a weight. You can spin a weight on a pole really quickly, speed it up with like a drill, and then you can hold that up no matter how heavy it is if it spins fast enough. So I think that's what we're looking at. We're looking at a flying saucer, which is essentially Victor Schauberger's water energy devices. Yeah. But I mean, there's so much information here, and I don't know why it says daylight, moonlight. Maybe that means different. It has to spin in a different direction. So you have the Buddhist swastika and the Nazi swastika. It's just a logo for their technology.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Wow.
So it says here that it's he's put different people into it. He's tried to create a 3D version of it.
Yeah.
I found a Russian schematic for a copper, almost a copper mercury spinning kind of radium device, which seems like in 10 steps, but I can't read I haven't been able to translate all of the Russian yet, but it sort of is a spinning, so it's spinning. So the Russians have that too, that technology.
Right. And do you think that that's derived from the same point, or that it was
Yeah,
developed
yeah.
independently?
No. I think the Russians and the Germans are playing this game where they're pretending they don't like each other, but actually they're working together.
Right. Most
I
things are
think
inverted, so that would make sense.
because I mean they did invade Poland together. I think there is a connection there between Russia and Germany right at the start of World War II. But then I think they just changed their mind and they decided to not talk about it too much, or not to make it public. Now there are some photos that I found that are very low resolution, but they have been manufacturing these things. They've been manufacturing these, and it's the reflection on the top of them. They all have the same gradient of light shading. So I think this is probably quite a good one to go on. And it's not. And I've tried to image search. It's not from a film, so it's a great one because it's showing that they're on these production lines, and they have been, I think, for a long time. So when you see a UFO and you get all these narratives about like Stranger Things and Close Encounters, all of these films, I think that's just to justify or to find a way out of people seeing them. this surveilling Germanic empire that seems to be kind of, in possession of the higher ground in the center of our realm. Now we don't even know it's there, and every single country on Earth agrees that we can't go there. There's a treaty that we can't visit this part of the realm, and so I think that's the full story. That's all there really is, I think, to it. Now, what about Star Wars, and why is the General Hoth also being? Why have they decided to put his name in there? Well, I think that's they have to tell us. They have to tell us.
Revelation of method.
Right. They have to end up, putting the information out there.
Yeah.
Otherwise, they are, painting themselves as the villain of the tale, as it were. And I think that the Battle of Hoth in The Empire Strikes Back was basically writing down all of the technology, the events, in case there is another reset, and we have to start again. Now, the Battle of Hoth, or Tabarin, I think, was the real name based on my own research. But this is all ongoing. There are pictures of UFOs being involved in some of those Arctic battles. The Star Wars connection is fascinating. It's so much fun because they actually they actually had very similar robotic equipment, and I was gonna try to show you some of those. I have found a few of those images. Yeah, you have to keep an open mind, otherwise it's going to be this is going to be quite hard. So, I mean, do you remember Die Glocke as well?
Yeah, the bell.
Yeah, so there are those landing platforms are all over Asia. Identical geometrical landing platforms for that device, for that. Yeah, and they have very weird sound, cymatic characteristics. So I think they were landing these all over the world. Yeah.
So this is not new, although obviously we're going back to the 1940s. This is not new technology. It goes back a lot further than that.
Yeah, it goes back a lot further. This is not new technology. That's important, I think, for people to realize. It's just taken us a long time to find out. Yeah. So this is how it works. Essentially, it's a torus field, and you can see the blue and the red, negative, positive, feminine, masculine. Yeah. So it's kind of like creating a vortex underneath. Like, you have to look at this from above, and you'll see this like circular donut-shaped vortex that it's creating. So it's very much in keeping with that ancient Hindustan Vamana concept, and also Schauberger's hydro energy devices. And I think that's what we would find inside any of these craft. We would find either mercury, water, some kind of plasma device being constantly circulated in whatever direction you need it for the craft to either ascend or land. So either descend or ascend. Now I think that also means that the swastika is basically the rule of the way that things move, the sun, the stars, everything on Earth, the human body's electromagnetic, the generators, everything, every organ, even the way like fruit plants grow. I think it's just the rule. It's just the rule here everywhere. This is a really good one I found. So here you can see that the way water moves. So I think water memory might be part of it. The fact that a high electrically charged water, H2O, could even do that. So you can produce hydrogen using photoelectric effect. Yeah, which is also how I think the airships flew. Yeah, but it's just beautiful. I mean, I don't know. Like, I've never seen any of these images. Because you have to know what you're looking for, I think.
Yes, but that's the problem, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah. If you
Yeah, that's the problem.
Yeah, we don't know
We
what we're
don't
looking for.
we don't know what we're looking for. And this is something that I say to people quite often, that we've got all of these pieces of a jigsaw puzzle, but we don't have the picture. So we're trying to wedge some of them together, and try and adapt things to fit where they shouldn't. And later on,
Right.
you'll then discover that actually the missing piece was right in front of you all along. But that is it,
Yeah.
essentially, isn't it? We're trying to create a picture of what's happened without actually having the information to know what
Yeah.
to look for to start
Right.
with.
Right.
It's so difficult.
It is difficult, but it's good. I think for this to be more like more public knowledge, then there could be more
Mm,
people working on finding ancient technology in our modern world, and not to think of these flying craft as aliens, but to think of them as that Antarctic empire that is kind of like, controlling everything we do today,
mm,
because we have to find out who they are,
yeah.
because nobody's known that up until today, right? Nobody's
Hmm.
known that there's this empire, that there are anti-gravity devices using magnetic fields. We haven't known that, even though they're everywhere. Almost everything from our speakers to our cell phones to our even very simple things in our kitchen use this technology, and we have to know that it's there. I think we have to understand that this
Yeah.
is this is the biggest secret, and it's not super complicated. If you have a conducting ceramic ring, then that's how the very early electrical circuits were controlled and built and set up. You know, and yeah, I mean, free energy is the key. I think. I mean, you can have liquid nitrogen, liquid plasma, liquid radium. Yeah, I mean, I think that's how lighthouses were powered. I think if we go back to like mercury baths and all of this stuff, it's not something to feel like you could never understand. Can you see what I mean? That's the
Yeah.
biggest issue, that we're told we're not clever enough. We're not scientists. We don't have any right to go into this kind of subject matter.
Well, that's the thing with the lighthouses, that we're told that the mercury was there to actually lubricate the mechanism through, to
Yeah,
enable it to turn.
yeah,
There are
but that's
so many
not.
other things that you could use instead of mercury. So the mercury was
Yeah,
clearly doing something completely different.
it's a super expensive way to do it. Yeah.
Absolutely, and dangerous as well, in theory. Although I remember as a kid at school playing with mercury.
Yeah, I don't think half of these things are as dangerous. I don't think radium is as dangerous as they say it is.
Mm. So what we've
Yeah.
got here, well, we can instantly see the swastika, can't we?
Right, right, and I think that this is very important, because this goes back to ancient Egypt, the way that the cities, the pyramids were planned out.
Mm.
This is the Big Dipper, and you've got the four seasons of Orion's belt. That's the
Yeah.
belt around the star sign. So I think that's how they came up with the symbol, and I think that simple rule is a great kind of metaphor for how most of this technology works. Now, if you're in a, like, it depends which part of like the realm you're looking up at the stars at. But if you're looking up from the east, you get the Buddha swastika symbol, because
Right.
that's the way. This is mind blowing, because that's the way it is perceived, the star sign.
Hmm.
But then if you're in the west, you're going to see it the other way around, and
Yeah.
then you can mirror it depending on if you're in the north or the south. And I think that's why our north and south switched, because they wanted to confuse us so that we wouldn't, have that ancient connection anymore. Because once you realize that every civilization has had this symbol, that this symbol is not just the German Reich. This is an
Mm.
ancient symbol, and yeah, and so I have some wonderful photos of these battles. Now this is the Battle of Hoth. This is the real Battle of Hoth. This is taken straight out of some of these. The Panzer Division, the third, I think, Panzer Division, led by General Hoth. So General Hoth is the Battle of Hoth. It's not a fictional event. It's the battle for Antarctica, the most important one, the one we are never told about. Yeah.
So we,
I've
I mean,
never seen this many tanks at the same time. I mean, I don't know what they were fighting. That's another thing.
yeah, yeah, exactly. Why were they there?
I don't think they were fighting humans, you know?
Mm.
And the only clue that I have is there are these large giants in Star Wars, these like Yeti kind of things. And maybe they were fighting something like that. But but this must have been about survival of the human race. And I think it was everyone together.
So this is the that's the creature that captures Luke Skywalker.
Yeah, yeah. I think
Yeah,
there
in
were a
the
lot
Empire
of.
Strikes Back.
I
Yeah.
think there were a lot of monsters. I think there were a lot of large, like wild men or something. And I don't think they knew what they would find, but they were definitely finding land masses, large cities,
Mm.
pyramids. Or, yeah. So I mean, I want this to be out there because I want to know. I want to know what is actually going on and why we can't go there. Why could people not go somewhere? Why can't we go? Why can't we explore the Grand Canyon freely? Because we'd find what hieroglyphs. Why
Yes,
why can't we explore Antarctica freely? What's going on? I mean,
yeah. Well, that's that's an argument that a lot of us have. Who at what point decided that a certain group of people could decide what the rest of the world can and can't do, and where they can and can't go? That this is not their land. It is not their decision. We've got the right to roam freely. So yeah,
hmm.
yeah, I agree. And of course, the Antarctic Treaty is an anomaly in itself because you've got you've got countries that actually actively despise each other, all
Yeah,
agreeing over one particular thing. Um, Absolute nonsense. And the fact that they're stating that it's to preserve, you know, preserve the continent is ridiculous because look at what they do everywhere else.
well, they can't agree. I mean, a lot of nations can't agree on anything. Even political
Mm,
parties within one, any specific country
mm.
can't agree on anything. So how can we agree on that? Well, there must be something forcing us to agree. You know,
Yes, yes, they don't want us going there for a very specific reason.
and I think it's a biblical level event. That I think it's something. Okay, I'm going to show you the photos that really are going to change the game. Okay, so
Okay,
there are some photos of some of these. Now, it'll be hard to understand. Which photos are real and which photos are not real, because
sure.
some of them are going to feel like they might be events that are possibly fictional events. Okay, so the one that I mean, there's a few. There's a few that I want to make sure we cover. Yeah. Okay, so first of all, there were many different craft. These are all photos of the crafts flying. They had weird names. I think these were found. I don't think these were produced, but these were some of the original ones that some of the earlier ones that flew. And I mean, yeah, people have been like sending me stuff. It could be because they've seen me talk on YouTube as well.
Yes.
Yeah, so that's good. And yeah, so one of the I'm going to try to show you one of the main battles. I do have some of them already linked up to certain dates. So let me just show you some of the battles. Okay, so yeah, so one of them was called Tabarin, and there was a good photo of the one of the ships near one of the large German vessels. Now, I think these were I think these were maybe on the same side at some point. but you can see a lot of what's called flak fire there to try to
Yes,
stop the UFO getting near the ship. So maybe the Germans were fighting the UFOs, because that's a pretty cool photo.
that is
But
incredible.
whatever happened here is, I think that we possibly won, and but there might have been a ceasefire. Yeah. Okay. The best photos, or the ones that I could, where I could make out what was going on, was I'll try to send some of those through. So, do people remember the Star Wars?
Well, yeah, absolutely.
Of course, people remember, right? So you
Yeah,
have these things here. These are the fighters, the rebel forces,
yeah,
and they had caves. So the caves, I think, were the Nazis. I think the Nazis are supposed to be obviously Darth Vader, right? And then you have these large structures here, the AT-ATs and the AT-AT, yeah, and these large stations, and there's like scenes where Luke Skywalker is like tying up the legs with cables with these small
yes.
crafts.
I
So
had
I
one as a
think
kid. I did. I had a, well, we called them AT-ATs, and then you had the
AT-ATs, yeah,
Imperial. The smaller one, I think, was called an Imperial Walker.
the Imperial Walkers, right,
I
right. So
think so.
so the Battle of Hoth, I think, was taken from that. And yeah, all of this battle, I think, actually happened in the Antarctic or in the Arctic. And the designs for these, I think, this is not like just. I mean, this is not science fiction. I think this is taken straight out of the blueprints from the Third Reich, and the specific, even the like, when they have all of this like air conditioning going on and the electric, these deployment depots and stuff, even the way the legs worked, all of this is like ridiculously unnecessary for the even for the movie and the comic books. But I think they wanted to record. This is my gut instinct, that they wanted to record that how these large robotic Tartarian creatures, or all-terrain vehicles, were able to absorb shock, how the pistons worked, to record, because they couldn't produce these anymore. This is too difficult to recreate. So they had to record how, and they had to put that information in the public domain so that it would not get lost. Like, a lot of information gets
Right,
lost,
right.
especially like we can't recreate airships. We have to pretend it was because of one crash, the Hindenburg, that's
Hmm.
why we can't use them anymore. Obviously, that's not true. We can't go to the moon again, right? Because we've lost all the telemetry data. Well, no, we just picked up where some previous empire left off. And I think this is the trick. The trick is to record how everything works. I mean, look at that. Why do you need to have a toe flap piston diagram?
Yes,
This is literally a children's, toy manufacturer, isn't it? I mean, what? Look at this amount of detail. This is recording our true history. You don't need to do that. What
mm,
science fiction movie have you seen where they did this?
yeah,
I've
yeah.
never seen one where they did this. The Walker's heavily armored head serves as a cockpit for two pilots. Okay, great. So you can build it out of Lego? Like, why do you need that?
Yes, yeah. You're quite right. It's overkill, isn't it?
This is way beyond anything that is necessary. I mean, if
Mm.
you're a hardcore fan, this is great. But you're not creating this for a small percentage of hardcore fans. You're creating this because you want to record something that you found. And you want to make sure that one day we could recreate them, maybe. You know? And yeah. Yeah, I mean, that's just create. So I'm going to show you some more images, because it's
Okay.
really about the photos.
Yeah,
Um,
sure.
and yeah, so there are AT-ATs as well, and there are the small walkers that we spoke about before.
Yeah.
Those actually didn't have two legs. They also had four legs. The two-leg one, I think, was just for the movie. And I'm going to try to bring those up. unless someone's going into my hard drive and deleting them as I'm talking to you. Okay, here we go. Right, this is a photo of the Germans, the German Empire, shipping these on trains. This is not a tank. It's got the legs folded up underneath. It's always been miscategorized, this photo, and that's why it's probably still exists. Yeah.
Wow. Well, I've never seen that before.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah.
Look
Yeah.
at
And
look
you're
at
quite
the
right. That is not a tank.
yeah, yeah. It's been categorized as a tank, but these are not tanks.
No,
There's
no.
a group on there's a few groups on Telegram dedicated to finding this information, and you can see here it's got some armor plating. That does not look World War II to me. Like
Mm.
these are very old. These are like 2008. I think they first came online. So I don't think it's AI, but we never know, right? We never
Yes,
know.
that's one of the problems that we have now, isn't it? But it certainly does. Well, I'm
But
no
I
expert, but it
don't
doesn't
want to
look
not.
AI.
Yeah, it looks like the photo was folded there above that
Mm.
cockpit on that. So I don't want to not talk about it just because AI exists. That doesn't seem
Yes,
right.
because
Yeah.
it's very easy to do that, though, isn't it? We can just dismiss
Yeah.
everything as being AI now. And, where do you
Yes.
draw the
Yeah.
line with that?
Well, I mean, I don't think that means we should stop talking about
No,
these
I
things.
totally agree with you. Yeah.
But yes, I mean, these are all just theories for entertainment purposes. Yeah. So, okay, I got some more. Okay, this is it's joining here some troops crossing some kind of water, a body of water. Yeah. So this one's pretty
That's,
cool.
yeah,
It's
these are incredible.
these were all going to come out. I mean, I think that's why we were given AI, because once this kind of stuff comes out, there's
Yes.
you can't argue with it.
Yeah. Yeah. But most people can say, well, that's just AI. And then that's the end of that conversation, isn't it?
Yeah, but I'm not going to end with that. I'm going to try to.
No, absolutely. No, absolutely.
Yeah.
I was having this conversation with somebody earlier on today that we were talking about that people that will knock you back. I'm not
Yeah.
talking about other people that are awake within the same kind of circles, but when you put something out there like this, there will be a huge number of people that will turn around and say, well, that's AI. And it doesn't matter what evidence you present them with. It's no different
Yeah.
to the pandemic. You could shout until you're blue in the face about the associated dangers with the medical intervention, and some people will just instantly dismiss you without wanting to look any further. And now with
Yeah.
AI is
Yeah.
a wonderful opportunity for people to shut other people down. They can just
It
dismiss
is.
everything.
Yeah.
Well, that's AI. That's AI.
Yeah.
You no longer have to consider it because you've convinced yourself it's AI and you move on. It's too
Yeah.
easy, isn't it, to just say that now?
Well, you can say that with everything. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, yeah. I mean, AI is going to get better too. It's going to be almost
Mm.
impossible at some point to tell. But I think these images we still have to kind of have a look at them
Mm.
and try to see. I mean, I have seen some of these before, not this particular one, but some of them I've seen many years ago, I mean, you can do this. You don't need AI to do this. You could do this with Photoshop if you really
Mm.
wanted to. But if it's a real photo, I don't want to. I don't want to be responsible for not showing it to people. This
Yes.
is this is this is if somebody wanted to create an AI photo, they would have copied the Star Wars. They wouldn't have created
Yes, I
something that
agree.
they wouldn't have created something that looks more like it could have been produced
Mm.
at that time. I mean, and is this the more realistic version of the
Mm.
Star Wars? What was George Lucas actually doing? Because only he knows, right?
Mm.
What was he trying to do with the Star Wars, and why does the Star Wars resonate with everyone around the world? It's just these are not really great movies. They don't have the best actors, but they resonate with everyone.
Mm.
There's something about those films, and I think that's some kind of memory. I mean, yeah, I mean, you would have it walking on the side of the road. You wouldn't have it near the infantry, right? You near
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
and the scale of this is just, I don't know. I mean, if this was a real photo taken at that time, the photo would have a record without those, you know,
Yes, it
behind. Right?
would. Yes, you're
So
quite right. You would
this
be
is a
able to
very
find.
good photo. This is a
Yeah,
pretty important historic image, I think.
yeah,
If it were, but I've not seen the photo before. I mean,
no,
these guys are obviously wearing something, preparing for some kind of light reflecting off possibly snow. I mean, those it look like those kind of snow glasses.
yes, they do, don't they?
Um,
And you're
there's like
quite
treads
right.
on here. There's unusual treads on
Mm.
this too.
And what you
So
said about the photograph itself,
mm,
if that is AI, if they've been added on, then that
yeah,
photo should exist without them there. So it'd be interesting to
yeah.
see if anybody can find it, and I guess you can't
But if somebody is gonna find it, I'm definitely gonna be looking at like have they photoshopped these things out of it as well. So
remove them. Well, we've seen that
right.
done so many times with the vanilla sky
Yeah,
images,
they
haven't
do.
we?
They do like to do that.
Mm.
So
Yeah,
yeah, I
absolutely.
have a lot of these,
Oh
and these are
wow.
really well done, and I have lots of these, and that's a hell of a lot of work for some. Like you know, I mean, there's a lot of these,
Mm.
and what kind? I mean, that brings fear. Why did those things? Sorry, this is the one with the two legs. Why did those bring so much fear into your heart when you saw them
Mm.
in the Star Wars? Because I
Mm.
had more fear of those small ones than I did anything else.
Yeah, the larger ones looked cumbersome, didn't they?
I think there's water like etheric memory. I think there's something about that.
Mm.
And it does look different. Like why yeah, why redesign something? It looks so like it could actually support its own weight,
Mm.
you know, and it's nothing like the one in the Star Wars. It's similar. That's all it is. I mean
Mm.
that side gun turret is definitely similar. Like if this is really if I've like you know one of the first people to show this to people on your channel, I think it would be pretty exciting. I mean,
Yeah.
yeah, I want to believe that this is real anyway. So.
So do I.
But please
Yeah.
look
So,
into it for yourself. You know, but there's a few images here.
but that's the thing, you know, like you said, it's very important to make that statement because
Uh,
I think that looking into it is what you need to
yeah,
do before you dismiss it.
yeah. I think if you want to talk about an important part of history, you have to always give people a way out because
Mm.
you don't want them to know that they're still being ruled by that empire.
Yeah.
You definitely don't, and
Mm.
because you know that does not make for a very you know positive kind of mindset. These are some plans for those. Now I've seen these in other films too. I have. It's not just Star Wars. This exact model has been used in other films too, like RoboCop. I think used
Oh,
that.
of course. Yes.
Why do they keep
Yeah.
using this design? You know,
Yeah.
there was like a stop motion RoboCop thing that RoboCop has to fight,
Mm.
like a security system. You know, and I think you'll find these are in a lot of films, and it's recorded data. It's trying to record everything in case we
Mm.
have another reset. If it's in the public domain, the chances of it being remembered is much higher. And
Yeah.
it looks like some kind of electromagnetic device. They're charging it at the bottom,
Mm.
like an inverted, yeah,
But we know that they do this anyway, don't we? That they always show us exactly what they're doing, but they
yeah.
dress it up as fiction, so we dismiss it. We still retain the
Mm.
information, but we disregard it.
Yeah, but it's been in movies in the 80s. It was
Mm.
in there, and they wanted to make sure it was in there for some reason. And there's probably a lot of images of these that we've kind of looked over and just
Mm.
ignored. Like, I mean, we believe tanks are real, right? There's so many of
Yeah.
them. We've seen them everywhere, but we don't believe this is real. Why not? Who decided that that's not something we can accept?
Mm.
You know, and yeah. Why are you putting these into a movie using the general's name from the the Panzer
Mm.
Division? And what is a Panzer? What were all the Panzers? Were they all on treads, or were some of them like more useful in this kind of higher elevation?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. You're absolutely right. Yeah, because they suit a different terrain, don't they?
Yeah, yeah. So this is very exciting. If it's I'm going to obviously keep going with it because I think there's a lot of technology there that was commanded by the Third Reich,
Mm.
and I think the Third Reich narrative is also wrong. I think we're looking here at just another name for that ancient Atlantean Tartarian empire, and it's just new names for the same kind of empire that kind of rules our reality. And yeah, and I think that's the key to unlocking the symbolism too. And I think that was before the reset. I think now we've lost that knowledge, right?
Hmm.
Otherwise, we would still have airships. We would have these AT-ATs walking around. I mean, we do have drones. We do have like a lot of technology, but I think we're just rediscovering what was there.
Well, the Sumerians described a drone.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, they actually described an autonomous drone that also acted as a direct energy weapon. So, none of this is new, is it? It's like it's being rediscovered,
No,
constantly rediscovered.
right. Yeah, I completely agree. Yeah, I think we're rediscovering it, and I think AI is one of those things. I think the first computer. I think all of that was just rediscovering like old technology
Mm.
that was part of archaeological digs. And I think in Turkey they found like a city with these like circular symbols that can be linked to other cities, and now they have to rewrite history again. And I think we're going to keep doing this. We're going to
Mm.
constantly keep repeating the same kind of a pattern where we discover something and then change the entire timeline. So I think there's nothing really before like the 17th century that we can really accurately prove or believe occurred.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, yeah.
Yeah.
It's funny because the other day I was just watching a clip on YouTube of Knight Rider. Do you remember Knight Rider, the TV show with David Hasselhoff?
Yeah. 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 I remember that
Well,
car. Yeah. Mm.
the car kit. What
Kit.
what
Right.
what is the difference ultimately? What's really the difference between that and a Tesla? A self-drive
Yeah.
Tesla.
No, I mean it's they copy the 1800s electrical cars, right? That people
Yeah,
were
but I
charging
mean,
outside their homes.
the car could drive itself. Kit could drive itself. It could communicate with Michael Knight, David Hasselhoff, couldn't it? So what
Yeah.
is so? Look at when that was. When was that? 40
Right.
years ago, maybe longer than that. So 40 years ago, they are showing us on TV a self-driving vehicle that is, for all
Yeah.
intents and purposes, totally autonomous, and it could communicate with the vehicle owner. Well, that's exactly what Tesla is doing now. What Tesla offer now. So I think all of this stuff it's been here before. You know, it just goes round and round and round. It's reintroduced and recycled almost, just adapted, modernized, adapted.
Yes. Yeah, I agree with you. I think that the ruling elites are making decisions as to what they show as when, but they have so
Mm,
much more that they're hiding. Um, and have you ever looked at there's some these
yes.
amazing hieroglyphs.
Yeah.
This is, I think, the Temple of Seti. It's called, and they found these almost like blueprints of different
Mm,
craft. So it's kind of curious that these carvings are almost the motivation behind many people going to Egypt just to kind of look at them.
mm.
Because they're very like similar to like modern helicopters, submarines.
Stealth. Yeah.
One of them looks like the that German Hogan, whatever it's called.
Mm,
And yeah, so I mean, 3,000 years ago, the Egyptians may have glimpsed technology of the future, or were they actually creating their own
Yeah,
technology? This is like
yeah,
a record of that.
yeah, depicting what they actually had there and then.
Yes. So I mean, yeah. I think the original carving. I mean, I don't know what they've called it. They've called it a scarab beetle. I don't think that's a scarab beetle.
No,
And
I
then
don't
one of
think
them
so
is a
either.
basket, and it says
Hmm.
a door bolt. And it says, I don't know what the explanation is for the one that looks a lot like a helicopter in the
Hmm.
middle. And they say that that's I think they say that that one is a red leaf. I don't I don't think it is. I think it's probably something far more fascinating.
Yeah,
But
yeah,
yeah, I mean it's entertaining, I guess.
yeah. And two of them have tail fins.
Right? They all, yeah, they all have
Hmm.
these fit. Even the one on the bottom. So yeah, was that the jet engine? Did they have these
Hmm.
helicopters? Did they? Is that where we got them from? And we're pretending like it's ancient, and this is
Well, that's
actually
the thing, isn't it?
we
I
were
think
doing.
we are constantly reverse engineering antiquitech. I think we're
Mm,
constantly doing that, and I think that is what Tesla was doing. I think he was reverse engineering. They come across these things, and somebody somewhere needs to get it back up and running again, or adapt it. And I suppose the ultimate goal is to adapt it to a position where it can be mass produced, and then money is involved, an incredible amount of money.
yeah, but I think even today we can't explain
No,
anything. We can't explain like Hampi's chariot in India. We can't explain how the pyramids were built. And anyone who says they know, they are absolutely lying to you if they say they
mm,
know how this was done. And a lot of Egyptologists, pretend that they have all the answers, but I think that I think the conspiracy theorists could probably run rings around most mainstream historians now. And I think one day we may have to come face to face with more kind of mainstream historians. But yeah, but it's a wonderful time to be alive. There's a lot of these awakenings and a
mm.
lot of people on the same frequency. Yeah, yeah, and there isn't as much coincidence in the real world as people want you to think there is. You know, so
Yeah, I don't really believe in coincidence anymore.
no, no. I think our perception is being fine tuned. So we have to be careful
Mm.
that we don't kind of we are still critical of our own theories too. That kind of thing. Yeah, but there's so much lost technology being rediscovered, and it's all sort of happening at the same time, all around the world. Yeah. So I found a lot of interesting things researching like old maps, especially Canada and Australia, because it's very easy to look at the narrative and see when the cutoff should be, or there should be a beginning for these countries.
Yeah,
But these ready-made cities are already on photos, of the early 19th century, and I think that's going to be a really interesting rabbit hole too. But yeah, I mean, I do like to return to symbolism because I think it's something that an empire usually has developed over many centuries, and it usually has all the answers in it already. But language obviously can almost be a burden sometimes to have to translate, and then everyone has their own way of translating. And I think this is the problem with a lot of biblical scriptures, that some words get changed, and
yeah.
the meanings
It's
change.
lost. Yeah, it's lost in
Yeah,
translation, and I
right.
believe that's intentional.
Yes, yeah. I think sometimes I think people are doing their best, but they just don't understand. I
Mm.
think that obviously there's a reason why people weren't allowed to read the Bible in the past. That they weren't allowed to even speak certain languages. That certain languages were deleted, especially the during the orphan train era,
Mm.
when children were not allowed to speak their native language, and they had to basically
Yes.
re-educate entire generations of people,
Yeah.
because the ancient tongue would have always given them this avenue of escape, this avenue back to where they came from. And I mean, this was obviously a very cruel thing to do, but the people are still there. I believe the people are still there, and they will be contacted by their ancestors at some point. And I think that it is very interesting when I look into certain things that you don't expect someone of my complexion to look into. For example, and I think that there is a great fear of that. I feel that there are people who really don't like that, because what if a lot of Caucasians look into African history or American history, or if a lot of maybe East Asians start looking into European history, and then they see their own connection that only they could see from their frequency, from their cultural background. And I think that's really, really powerful. If you have people looking into something that they have no business looking into, like why would a white European be interested in researching ancient Moorish history? That's
Mm.
something that shouldn't happen. Not within the pigeonholed sort of
Yes.
this sort of decompartmentalized world that we live in, where everyone has a demographic and a purpose and a
Mm.
and a political opinion and a party and like segregation is happening mentally all the time. So
Yes.
so if you start to move across those sort of lines that were drawn in the sand, these invisible lines that are even harder than physical walls to get through sometimes. Like people don't want you to look into that because you're not supposed to do that. But
Mm.
but I think that's the greatest fear. It's like, why are you interested in a Eurasian ancient empire? And people are interested in old maps. Like nobody's supposed to be interested in that unless you're an old historian, who loves books. When young people start looking into these things with their own perspective and its own kind of energy flows to those different subjects, and I think that's what an awakening is. It's when people transcend these social norms, these social obstacles and trials, these social lines. I mean, you don't have to become a woman to try to understand female psychology. You don't have to be African to study African history. You don't have to your own personal kind of categorization or ethnicity does not limit you once you're in this realm, in this theorist realm. And I think if we can turn the term conspiracy theory into something positive, if we can turn all of these names and labels into something positive, then I think we are kind of winning that war. Because
Yeah.
a lot of this stuff has been put into a very negative category, right?
Yes, it has.
Alternative history is fake history,
Yeah, pseudoscience,
right?
and it's
But
not
maybe it's
alternative history. We're rewriting, we're correcting
right.
history. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, absolutely. We're editing it, aren't we? We're
right.
taking what we've been given and we're correcting it.
Yeah, yes. I mean, but it's certain things that we're not allowed to really talk about national
Mm.
Zionism. We're not allowed to talk about national Zionism. We're not allowed to talk about Goebbels being a Jewish. We're not allowed to talk about these things. We're not allowed to talk about the Crimean Tatars fighting as part of the SS. We're not allowed to talk about Jewish infantry in Nazi Germany. There are certain things that are not permitted almost to kind of discuss. Even last time when we discussed the concentration camps, I'm sure like a lot of people don't want anyone to look into swimming pools, tennis courts in those places because that goes against what's already been written and all of those books that have already been published that go against that narrative. You see, so but I think that's the duty of every generation to question the past, to improve on the past, and to get closer to the truth. Yeah.
Yeah, Yeah, and I think it's really important, and you can see where the problem lies, can't you? Because once all of this information is out there in the public domain, that
Yeah.
discredits almost every historian, every history book ever written, or the films. In this case, the war films, and they have recycled those, haven't they? And we've seen
Right.
so many of them. And of course, if you've got a degree or a doctorate in history, and your specialist subject perhaps is the Second World War, then all of a sudden it's worthless, absolutely worthless. So you can see there are a lot of people with a vested interest outside of the parasitical sphere, making sure that this doesn't actually get out there.
Yeah, yeah, that's definitely happening. Yeah, yeah, it's been quite interesting to discuss how a lot of the technology that is associated with Nazi Germany does have a connection with Nordic people,
Right.
even though uh, even though Switzerland wasn't, I don't think, involved in the war and was somehow able to stay out of it. And
Yeah, remain neutral, didn't it? Allegedly. Yeah.
yeah, yeah, and some northern European countries, they kept kind of like moving between the sides, so they kind of didn't want to put them into a specific category. And at the start of the war, Russia was on the Nazi side, and then halfway through that changed, and I think that was to ensure that there was a realistic end to the German Empire, that
Hmm.
people wanted to go into Russia, invade Russia during the winter.
Mm.
Yeah, so so the Axis empires were they I think they from 1937 to 1945, the Axis had a lot of countries moving in and out of allegiance, and this is quite interesting. So you have Nazi Germany and the fascists Italy and Japan, and I think they were all part of Tartaria, and they all had exactly the same sort of architecture, infrastructure,
Yeah.
and even religious like belief systems, because Japan had many kind of Christian cities. So you have this expansion narrative, that it was aggressive expansion, and the destruction of the Soviet Union, which wasn't part of the agenda. But yeah, then you have like Nazi Germany, which aimed to build this racial empire, Lebensraum, which was never part of, I don't think, the original narrative, and recreating a new Roman Empire, Spazio Vitale, along with Italy, with fascist Italy,
Yeah.
and somehow Japan communicated that they wanted a greater East Asia prosperity sphere, and to drive out Western colonial powers and dominate East Asia, even though Germany had a vested interest in trade routes in China. And the the allies included Hungary, Romania, Bulgaria, Slovakia, Croatia, and all of these. These were allies which supported Germany's campaigns, and I don't know exactly to what extent Hungary, Romania, Bulgaria exactly supported the the Eastern Front, but they did consider France to be um, this puppet regime, and China had the Manchu regime, which somehow also became an enemy almost immediately. And the Vichy in France were actually on the trading and on the same side as the German Empire. So why invade France? And
Yeah.
then you have this functioning under the Axis. Like Nanjing was its own separate empire. The Manchu were their own separate empire. The Republic of China was its own empire. The son of the emperor at the time, Chiang Kai-shek, went to fight for Hitler's stormtrooper. What like why are they fighting the Japanese? You know that it
Mm.
doesn't make sense if you actually
No,
look
it doesn't. I'm
into the Vichy regime. It doesn't make any sense. Then you have military campaigns. Who's fighting who? Why would the president of the Republic of China, who later got obviously forced into Taiwan to escape the communists, why would he send his own son to fight in Hitler's army when he's fighting the Japanese, who are allies with Germany? But you can't. It doesn't make sense.
No, it doesn't make any sense. And I'm glad you mentioned the stormtroopers there because, of course, you've got another connection, haven't you, to Star
Star
Wars?
Wars. I think Star Wars is the record of World War II. Yeah, the Empire Strikes Back certainly is a record of the conquest of the Arctic, the higher ground. Which
Yeah.
once you have the higher ground, you rule the entire realm. Yeah,
Mm.
and I think this is where the narrative comes off the spiritual. I mean, look at these logos, these old world like
Yeah.
Black Sun UFO.
Hmm.
So this is the introduction. This one is in English. That's why I thought it might be worth showing. Yeah. So this is the mythos of the Third Reich. So you have the proof then that ignorance is nothing that cannot be changed. If the human is willing to accept the truth, he can free himself from all ignorance. And I think that this is all kind of part of the religion, the origin of this Thule society. This one was interesting. There's always something present that enables him to keep on living, namely his own creative force. So our creative force is considered by these secret societies to be the key to differentiate us from everybody else. And as
Yeah.
long as we're creative, I think we're free. Yeah. So there's some interesting things here. I mean, all of these things make
There
sense.
are.
Yeah.
There are. Yeah. And hopefully people will screenshot this so
Yeah.
they can refer to it. Because I think creativity is the one thing that we have that they don't.
Right, and I think that's the thing that makes all of this discovery of our true history possible.
Mm.
And I mean, if you didn't have creativity, you would be very concerned about people who have it, who have that creative soul
Yeah.
connection. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think that's why we get attacked. I think it's not because we are wrong; it's because we are right.
Yeah. Yeah. I agree.
So it also says the human may not escape. So it's talking about the human as something different to whatever they are. So the human may not escape from the highest consciousness, for sooner or later he surrenders to this creative reality, because it is the life of his life, the spirit of the spirit. So these are the spiritual teachings of the secret societies that ended up coming up with this technology. Yeah, and the Thule Society. Yeah. No, I don't. I mean, obviously, all of this is probably going to sound pretty kind of inspirational. He may
I
be
think this
wrong
is
on which
fantastic.
division. I think we need to go down these routes. We need to try all of this
Yes. Yes, we do. Yeah. Literally at this
from
point, nothing is off the
136 to one.
table.
Let's try to follow in these footsteps. Don't get attached to material things. I mean, that's biblical, isn't it? I mean, that's almost like biblical teachings. These. So, yeah. So, can you be free from everything? This is almost like Buddhism, and they also have the swastika on the Buddha. So there's some
Yes.
crazy connections here. Is Buddhism, yeah, and is there more of a connection than just a coincidental
Mm.
similar, swastika?
It's not coincidence, though, is it? None of this is
No, no.
coincidence.
I think there's a Bible behind this, like a watermark Bible with a
Yes, yeah, I can
star.
see something. Yeah,
So maybe the what we are told is the most evil thing is actually not. It's actually the opposite. It's some kind of like
yet
very high
another
frequency,
inversion.
another inversion of information.
Mm.
But I do, yeah, I do think that one's. I didn't see that earlier. The one that says that, yeah, he may be robbed from all his possessions and may be driven away from his home, but nobody may drive him away from his spiritual realm. Yeah, so this is all pretty. This, yeah, this could be like Scientology later on or something.
Yeah,
Also, the Mormons church is very similar, right? I mean, they have their own Bible, and that humans are like that different. No, is that the Scientology where different parts of your body are different entities, or everything's
I don't.
thousands of years old, right? Yeah,
I'm reading some of these out.
these are good. This
They
is
are.
the spiritual teaching of Strut Namje. These are basically Hyperboreans. For anyone who doesn't know, these are Hyperboreans that came down from the north, from this land, and that gave this teaching. Maybe they were able to stop the war. Maybe they are currently doing that, because we have all these strange craft taking down rockets that are being fired. Maybe they are like the overseers. Yeah, some people call them watchers,
Right.
Anunnaki.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay. Yeah.
so it could be connected to some higher frequency
Hmm.
entity that is watching over us, and then
Mm.
giving us these advancements, yeah,
Yeah.
technological advancements.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah, I thought
That's
that
in,
would be quite interesting.
yeah. That's incredible. So, have you got anything else you want to share with us?
Right, yes, I've been yeah, trying to look into exactly how this kind of history can, or how this kind of empire may have affected other historic events in the past. And I came upon some interesting images
Right.
of people who look malformed,
Hmm.
but were probably normal humans. So, okay, I believe that it wasn't always like the grid was working pretty well very recently, and then electricity was generated by a reptilian or the Vaticano, the dragon. So maybe this dragon lineage are protecting dragons, and we are told the dragons are evil, like satanic,
Hmm.
but actually the dragons are the ones that are generating electricity, and that possibly the dragons are living within the roots of these ancient trees. A lot of them have been cut down, and these were probably evil entities that cut down our trees, that cut down our high frequency oxygenated etheric
Yeah.
energy grid. And I think it's the dragons. When you have these images of King George killing the dragon, I think that happened all over the world, and the dragons were being killed so that to make someone a hero, because it's the most powerful creature on Earth, the most beautiful thing on Earth, and possibly if you are killing the dragon, you are making a name for yourself as a hero and a protector of the realm. But the problem is that when you kill the dragon, you are actually killing the thing that generated the energy.
Right.
Now, why am I showing you Colonna, one of these priests? Well, I think that the etheric grid shaped our bodies or changed the shape of our bodies. So this is almost a hunchback. They have large hands and they're almost hunchbacked. Now, this made me think of what are the things along the grid? Well, it's these cathodes, these energy centers.
Yeah.
And if you look at the hunchback of Notre Dame, obviously there are many hunchbacks all over the world, right? There were many stories of hunchbacks or deformed, kind of almost Lemmy-like looking creatures that had their faces in their chests.
Hmm.
And then I had this wonderful awakening when I was again looking at the Hunchback of Notre Dame, the 1996 musical, and then I looked at this picture and something clicked, and I thought to myself, I think I know why the hunchbacks became priests. These deformed people, because they all look very strange. They are not. They are not finding wives within the local, civilization, within the local villages. And I think the reason why they're not finding mates is because they're hunchbacks, and because
Yeah.
they are related to these Tartarian creatures, possibly. And that's why they are ringing the bells, because the bells give the frequency of the perfect human form, and it's slowly healing them. And that's why the hunchback is ringing the bell on a daily basis, because that frequency is the healing frequency. Maybe it's not just the bells, maybe it's the organs, maybe it's everything. So if he spends every minute of every day in these clock towers, he is slowly changing the physical shape of his body and healing himself. Yeah.
I love that, Charles. That's
Yeah.
absolutely amazing.
Because the amount of deformed, portraits of these weird, like Habsburg type religious figures and
Mm,
cardinals with strange faces, and they all looked sort of hunchbacked.
mm.
And I think that's why they were there. And I think that's why the Hunchback of Notre Dame hangs out, you know,
Yeah.
that's why they all hung out there. All of the people, all of the needy people, all of the people with no normal physical features, all of the ones that
Hmm.
were excluded. They're dancing around these bells, and they're inside the bells, and because the frequency is healing them. Yeah. And they're the red hair giants. That's why they were there. Every
Yeah.
church in Germany has an old guardian, an old giant. They are collected around these places to get the perfect cymatic human form back.
And I imagine they're all red-headed as well.
Yeah, I think so. I think they
Mm,
were red-headed giants. I think they were the Nephilim. The Nephilim became the priests. The
mm.
Vatican is the dragon, literally,
Right.
because that's how they could heal themselves, because that's what they maybe were told, or that's what they found.
Yeah.
And they were protecting them too, I think, in the end. Yeah.
That's, wow.
What do you think? It's pretty good.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I'm still sort of mind blown with the Empire Strikes Back, Hoth, the Hoth connection with the AT-ATs or ATTs,
Well, I think, yeah,
AT-ATs.
yeah. I think we're going to find out that it's Tartaria and it's World War
Mm,
II and it's the Nazi Prussian Empire. And I think if we look deeper into even the fashions of those
mm,
movies, we will find uh, Padme, I think it was, and there's a connection with her and the Mongolian and Tartarian princesses. Uh, I
Queen
think
Jennifer.
I think they were using those
Mm,
fashions. I think there was an iconic look in Star Wars,
mm,
not just The Empire Strikes Back, but with these coils like Queen Elchi that that was given. So you have these like Mongolian noble women wore this. It's
mm.
called a Khalkha Mongolian royal wedding attire. The butterfly hair silhouettes. Almost every Star Wars film has this real focus on fashion and getting that right, so that someone like you and me would come along and understand that yes, the traditional Mongolian headdress is Padme
Mm,
Amidala, which is Aladdin backwards, right? So Aladdin, I've done a whole thing on Aladdin. I think Amidala was supposed to be Aladdin backwards, and then you have the positive, negative, like Nephilim is elephant. I think they were taking those names, yeah, to describe things. So I think it's cultural appropriation, and even Queen Leia. If you look at Queen Leia and Princess Elchi, those coils, those electromagnetic coils. I think there's a lot more in there that we probably don't remember, because you're not going to watch that
yeah.
film too
There's
often.
a connection with that hairstyle and the Hopi Indians, isn't there, as well?
Yeah, that's a good one. Yeah,
Mm.
there's a good one. I think a lot of empires were involved in this war for the Arctic. and I
Mm,
think that those battles went on for a long, long time.
mm.
Yeah, and
Someone's
I think
desperate to get hold of you, I think.
yeah, I'm having some some people trying to contact me, but this is it's part of the game. It's part of the game.
Yeah. What time is it there for you?
It's now 1 10 past 1.
In the morning.
Yeah, Sunday morning. It's now Sunday morning here. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. And someone's trying to call you at 10 past 1 on a Sunday morning. Wow.
Oh, these are just like notifications that people don't always know.
Oh, okay. Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
I just have to control that, keep those quiet. Yeah.
I see a resemblance between the Vajra and the lightsaber as well.
Yeah, the lightsaber is another good one. Yeah, yeah.
Mm,
I think that you have the Vajra, like Thor's, like the lightning bolt, right?
yeah, yeah, the
So
thunderbolt or lightning bolt. Yeah.
that's in the west and the east. I think that's a great one.
Mm.
So yeah, I don't know. I mean, I think I've mentioned this one before. The connection here.
Yeah, yeah,
I mean,
Jennifer and
I
Padme.
think
Yeah,
this it's definitely cultural appropriation to some extent.
yeah, yeah, I agree.
But I think they're trying to tell a story, and they're trying to
Mm.
tell a historically accurate
Well,
story.
she was shot in the back. I think 1943. The Russian troops, whilst she was pregnant, shot her in the back and killed her.
Oh yeah, they were trying to get rid of all of that history. Yeah,
Remove that particular bloodline. Yeah, yeah, absolutely.
yeah. No, I found very interesting, like connections there between even the Holy Roman Empire in China.
Hmm.
So I think these fashions are I mean, this is obviously called Mongolian today, but the Mongols and the Tatars were part of the same army, so it
Mm.
could have originated in what was Tartaria back then.
Yeah.
But you do see the crescent moon in her hair, and you also
Mm.
see the crescent moon being depicted here, which is very important to identify a location. So usually there's a star and a moon, and from that you can reference the star map to find the location of the land that they came from. Yeah,
Mm.
and you see that on a lot of flags now too. A lot of flags have that have
Yeah.
references to the stars. Yeah, giving a location to a certain landmass. And yeah, so if you see that the flat Earth style map with the
Hmm.
Arctic, that means that if we live under that kind of dome star map shape, then that also means that America would have to be in the center, near the center of the map, possibly right next to Europe, as opposed to separated by a large body of water. So I think a lot of those oceans are not as big. Yeah. If you're going to
Right.
take if you're going to carry on, like if we do, which we I think should to some extent, we should carry on with seeing how much of those maps actually fits into the modern day narrative. And someone's done a interesting post on trying to locate the United States where it actually was on old maps, because there are references to America on some old maps. For example, some people are saying that Kazakhstan is actually the location for the United States. And then that would explain some of the wars that we have, especially incursions into Iran, Iraq, Syria, Afghanistan. Yeah, some of those troop movements. Because there are so many ancient maps that show a landmass called Amaruku or Kushata. Tameri is another name. And yeah, and if you also think about like biblical scriptures, connections to like the Dead Sea, the Nile, all of those connections, uh, which which means we're just looking at like a four cornered sort of map.
Yeah. Well, a lot of people do.
Yeah,
We've discussed this before, haven't we? That America is really the real Middle East,
yeah,
and that the
I think it is.
yeah,
Yeah,
Yeah, and which is why they don't want us going anywhere near the Grand Canyon.
Yes, I mean, but it also explains a lot of ancient like symbolism and
Yeah.
a lot of religious symbolism,
Mm.
like why were like Moorish empires able to find their way just using a flat circular copper silver compass called an
Hmm.
astralabe, and why is there no calculation for a curve within jet propelled like rockets and submarine and torpedoes, things like that. So yeah, I mean, this is saying obviously that the zodiac is this inductive resonance grid, and maybe the zodiac, when it comes to the Babylonian teachings of a zodiac, is actually the Akashic grid, just being drawn out. So so we're just drawing out the energy grid above us, and we think that
Right.
there are these rocks flying around. And then we look at like Saturn, and that's obviously a that's right above a very powerful energy center, and there is this constant movement. But if you take biblical scripture says that the sun can be stopped or the sun can be controlled. The sun is moving above us, not that we are somehow mobile. And I think based on those old teachings, it is a really interesting academic exercise. So we have these resident nodes of the this ionosphere, and that there are different frequencies at different heights, and that all of these zodiac signs are actually just giving us clues as to what kind of what kind of plants would grow there, what kind of animals would exist there, and what kind of frequency we would get there.
Right.
You can do this with plants. Actually, you can. Every plant has its own frequency, and if a plant is good for a part of your body, it usually looks identical. So, like burdock root has this spiky pink flower, and then you see the same thing with like the nettle, stinging nettle, and
Hmm.
that has the same spiky pink flower because those are perfect for your sacral chakra, like healing medicine. So those are what you would go for if you needed help with that sacral chakra, which is also pink in the Hindu, seven chakra geometry. And that's a fascinating thing because you could basically heal yourself just by looking at the right color flower or herbs for different parts of your body. It's so
Well,
funny when you realize they look the same. Yeah.
they say the same about certain things as well, fruit and vegetables. Like, for example, we've always been told if you eat enough carrots, it's brilliant for your eyesight. Carrots help you see in the dark. But the
Yeah.
carrot, when you chop a carrot in half, you'll see it actually has an eye. And
Yeah.
kidney beans, they're supposed to be good for your kidneys. And
Right. Right.
tomatoes are supposed to be good for your heart. The tomato essentially has four valves. And so we are given these clues. Nature has provided us with this information. Um, but we've been disconnected from it, haven't we? Or the knowledge has been lost somewhere along the line. But of course, the produce that we're now eating, and in most cases we're getting from supermarkets, isn't going to contain anywhere near the level of nutrients to have the same benefit as if you were actually, eating real food or growing it yourself.
Yes. Yes. I mean, this is a wonderful thing, but I mean, I I do understand that some people are saying, oh, bananas don't look the way they used to. Mushrooms don't look
Mm,
the way they used to. And nothing has as much healing as it used to. But I don't think you need much, to be honest. I don't think you need because what are vitamins? They're just vital minerals, right? So so I mean, how much do you need? Could you because everything used to be tiny. We
mm.
we have like genetically modified almost every fruit and vegetable to make it look larger, so we can charge more money for it. That's my theory.
Yeah, and a lot of them we've removed the seeds as well, haven't we?
We have, and I really believe, honestly, that everything was in very small berry, almost like a berry form. So I think you'd just be hunting and gathering berries.
Mm.
to eat, and I think you just have a handful a day, and you probably didn't have to eat every day. And I really think that the zodiac, there's more to it than just stars looking like people. I think that if in fact this is this resonance grid above us, then surely that is the grid. It is the stars. I mean, what else can it be? You know, they don't want us to build tensor rings, do they? I mean, is that the way the realm was designed, that we have to somehow use copper rods to find the magnetic ley lines?
Yeah. Yeah.
No, I don't think it's that complicated. I think it's all in
Mm.
our head already, you know?
Yeah.
I think that's how birds find, you know, these crazy distances where they migrate. I think they're just following this energy, and it's in the sky, and that's, you know, how they get hold of it. Yeah. So I think that's what Stonehenge was. I think that's an energy center, and I think you find there's stars right above these places. It says that also with like a star above Bethlehem helped the three wise men find Jesus. It's that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. So they're building a Saturn circle. Saturn, because they're worshiping Saturn,
Yes.
and they're putting 30 stones, 360 degrees.
Hmm.
Yeah. So it's the angles or the angels of light coming down.
Yeah.
And then they get really esoteric, like these ancient monks, schema monks. They start painting electric symbols almost upon their own garments and gowns, and then they come up with these crazy. I think that's the secret to everything right there. I think that's how you live forever. I think that's how you ascend. I think it's if we could possibly maybe decipher what these ancient manuscripts that they were spending their whole lifetimes writing and illustrating in these tomes, they call them, and scrolls, and in these monasteries where they were basically self-sufficient in case there was another Armageddon or flood or something.
Hmm.
But yeah, I think they were writing down everything. I think everything's on this. I think probably everything, the whole secret of the entire realm, your purpose, where you're going, how to live forever, it's all there. We just I don't know, because there's other types of Latin, I've realized. Like with Hebrew, there's Paleo Hebrew, right? And there's Aramaic, almost Hebrew. There's like a modern Hebrew, and I think it's the same with Latin. There is a Roman Latin and a Moorish Latin. Yeah, I've recently found out. Yeah, so yeah. I mean, because that's the man, the planets.
Yeah.
Uh, um, yeah, this is the nature of what is Catholicism? Is it really an alternative to Protestantism, or is it something else? What was Catholicism? Was it the study of the cathode? You know, was it really just religion? Was it really a hierarchy with cardinals and popes?
Or the
I
study
think
of energy.
if you really want to like ask those kind of
Mm.
crazy questions, we have to ask those questions.
Yeah.
But I mean, all of this, people can like screen grab, right? I mean, I think the labyrinth is the search for the electric dragon, and the dragons were creating electricity. When I finally study and complete my work on the anatomy of the dragon, then I think that will be hopefully before the end of the year. I'm going to try to tell everyone, because there are certain documents that talk about the dragons being fed gemstones, 12 different types of gemstones from the snake on the staff. Aaron's breastplate also has 12 gemstones. I think they were feeding them gemstones, and that's how they created fire, electricity, everything. Everything came from these dragons. The dragons were the most worshipped thing, and I think they still are in China. I mean, whatever temples weren't destroyed by the communists, they're still being worshipped. I think the dragon was still being worshipped.
Mm.
And I'm suspicious that there are temples which worship just the dragon, and there's no other kind of deities in front. Yeah, which would be crazy if I can find that. And I think I'm in the right place to find those kind of things. The dragon,
Mm.
the reptile, even in the Egyptian hieroglyphs, was the one that created the electrical, incandescent bulbs, all of those Baghdad battery symbols, all of that stuff. And I think the labyrinth could even be Hyperborea. That could even be the central mountain that the Nazis were so eager to conquer.
Okay. Okay. Yeah.
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 The stupa seems to be a model of the mountain, I think. You know, and I think they bury people underneath. But then I realized that it's just like the pyramids. It's not true. This has nothing to do with burying people. I think this was also harnessing etheric energy, and this is a
It
super.
certainly looks like it did, doesn't it?
Yeah,
It's
yeah. It
got
looks like
a
a kind of a power station at the top. There looks like some kind
yeah,
of coil. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. It certainly mirrors it, doesn't it? It's showing the signs.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, there are, but those are lined up
Mm,
geometrically around the Buddha mountains
mm.
here in in Asia, and they're lining them up in a circular pattern, and almost like they're charging like some kind of power station.
Yeah, forming a circuit, aren't they?
Right, I think so. I think
Mm,
it's a circuit. I mean, there are some references also to energy. It says here fire powers, vase cushion. Why? I mean, if this is all just esoteric symbolism, if this is all
mm,
just tradition and culture, why does it have to be so well measured out, perfectly constructed?
mm.
Were we reverse engineering these to create modern power stations? Wouldn't that be amazing if that's what it turns out to be?
Well, I've
Wisdom
often
in
thought
you.
that pylons are basically Tesla towers.
Yeah,
That pylons are
yeah.
pulling energy from the ether, and we're being effectively charged for something that's being harnessed for free.
No, no, I think it is. I don't think it's delivering. Like, I mean, why would you build some large structure like that looks like a human body, out of
Mm,
metal in the middle of a field just to kind of carry electricity from one? Just build another power station. How many resources are you using to build these massive,
yes,
massive metallic like giant exoskeletons? Why?
yes, it's a very
You know.
good point.
But you've
Yeah,
got 7 limbs here, so that's like a holy number. 5 powers, 5 faculties, 4 bases of miraculous power. It's always power, power, power.
yeah.
Mindfulness. Like who? Like when did they? Like I mean, obviously these are ancient. This goes back to ancient Hindustan. This is like part of the religion. But but yeah, I mean, this is great because it's the age of information, and we're starting to realize that all of this stuff has is
Mm,
these are all. I think somebody went into these empires, these cultures, these lands, and taught them how to harness this
mm.
dharma, they call it here, and in China they call it chi, and then yeah, yeah. This was an interesting serpent, the stone emblem of the egg, the idea of rebirth.
Yeah,
I see this all over the place. These eggs. This is the astrolabe, which was invented by the Moors. This came from the Iberian Peninsula. Somehow, this device helped their fleets and their armadas travel throughout the realm. How does that help you get around? So I'm okay. I've got another theory. I think that these copper plates, these wafer thin plates, were actually somehow being affected by ley lines. You know, so it's not just sunlight or some kind of calculation. I think it's actually being moved by the ley lines.
so do you
Thereby,
think they were possibly traveling along ley lines?
I think the Moorish Empire ended up in Spain because they were following energy grid
Yeah,
lines.
yeah.
I don't think they were like looking at the sun and stars. I think it was.
Mm,
I think these things move when you're on the right track, kind of thing.
mm.
And
And I
and
can see
yeah,
references on them. I can't see it brilliantly well, but I can see what appears to be um, Sol for the Sun, Saturn, Mars, Venus.
yeah. I think the energy grid is the zodiac.
Yeah, which aligns with what you were saying earlier on.
Yeah, yeah.
Mm,
And I think if that's true, then I think that's something new. Yeah, I think that's
mm,
something very important. if the Akashic grid is actually what we are calling, you know, Pisces,
Mm,
Cancer,
mm.
you know, um, yeah, Orion. I mean, how does that help you find your way? I don't even know.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's something definitely. I mean, that looks like a meridian line going through the center.
Hmm.
But how does that help you on a globe? I mean, how does that help you on a spherical Earth? I mean, I
Yeah.
have to try to study these, which may take a long time.
Well,
But
you'd
I
have to
mean, do
come
we
back.
even
Well,
know how they work? I don't know.
yeah. Well, perhaps but once you have got to the bottom of it, or got a bit more research, get further down the line,
Yeah,
then come back and share it.
yeah. I'd like to be able to explain how this, all of these
Mm,
little hooks and weird kind of spirals. And is that like a central mountain? Yeah. But there's so many designs. It's not, they
yeah.
keep, they're so, this is incredibly intricate work. Yeah, these are supposed to be like over 1,000 years old. These,
Wow.
very similar to that clock as
Yes,
well.
it is. Yes.
So did the Moors build that?
Mm.
You know, that's maybe those cities are. There could be another connection there.
Yeah, to the Moorish
Yeah.
Empire. Yeah.
So there's constantly new things to write down. Yeah. Yeah. But it does also have a zodiac on it. Actually, hang on. Yes, yes, it is a zodiac. Yeah. I don't know if that's the
Hmm.
original one or the new one, because they did edit. They did take things away from it.
Yeah, they removed Sol, didn't they? The 13th. It's the summer
Yeah.
month.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think they were trying to definitely misinform.
Mm.
But that looks like an astrolabe, actually, now that I think about it. Yeah. And why would it have the zodiac on? It's obviously doing
Mm.
more than just telling the time.
Yes. Yes, I think that's a valid point.
Yeah, so that's another piece of research. This one's
Hmm.
given. This is again. It always ends up being German for some reason. But this is uh, I don't know what these words even mean actually. Hohenkreis, the height circle or the circumference. Yeah, I'll try and find some English versions.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that's another thing that's been kind of quite fascinating to look into.
Yeah. Yeah. You've been busy, Charles. You really have been busy. Well, thank you. Thank you for sharing all of that with us. People do look
Yeah, thank
forward
you.
to you. They look forward to you coming on. So it'd be
Yeah,
interesting to see what you've got for us next time. But I'm still I'm still kind of in awe that you've connected Star Wars to this.
yeah.
The Empire Strikes Back, the back,
I'm gonna
Battle of.
rewatch those films. Maybe we could do like a group view and just kind of talk about,
That would be
because
good, wouldn't
we're
it?
not gonna
That
remember
would be
everything,
fun.
right? I mean, I haven't
No,
seen that film in at least 10 years, so.
yeah, yeah,
Mm.
but I think that's a really good idea. Yeah, get a group of us together online to watch it at the same time. Yeah, I think
Yeah,
that'd be brilliant. The things that you would spot, and you
you would
don't
find
spot.
things. Yeah,
Yeah, I do too. Yeah, I do. Well, it drives my wife mad because we'll be watching something and I'm having to pause and rewind or, write it down. I've just spotted something. She's just, can we just watch a film without you having to
yeah,
do that? But I pick films when it's my turn that specifically have something in I'm looking for, you know.
yeah, yeah. I mean, I think we're going to find that a lot of mainstream films must be telling the story of the saints, the assassins, the Tartarians, the
Mm.
Khazarians.
Well, it's lots of different examples. I put a post up, it was a couple of days ago about Fight Club.
Yeah,
um, and that has references in it to 9/11, 2 years before it
yeah,
happened. It's
Fight Club is one of my favorite films.
everywhere.
Yeah,
They've been doing this for a very, very long time.
yeah, yeah. Well, John Wick, I think, is the Tartarian. So
Right.
you have the Jesuit order and the
Hmm.
Smithsonian have the same sun logo, and I think in that film they actually tell you other names for the Tartarians.
Mm.
Like I think it's Fitch or something, his name, and in the end you find out. So I think they were telling that story. I mean, anything that is religion and assassins,
Mm.
when those two things are the complete binary opposites, right? You're not expecting that. The church is about holiness, about selflessness, about, and I think we do have paganism hidden all over the place within the symbolism. Yeah, yeah. So yeah, it's a great time to be alive. Yeah, lots
Yeah,
of
it
things
certainly
to find
is.
out.
Yeah. Well, thank you, Charles. Thank you once again. And
Thank you for having me on, and
oh, it's a pleasure.
it's always fun chatting with you. Like I have a lot of things that I want to talk about, but sometimes it's you can't fit everything in. But yeah,
Well, you'll be back next month, I'm sure. So we'll just yeah, we'll
yes,
just keep revealing.
yes. Thank you also for putting me in contact with a lot of people that have really helped me become better at the communication, the podcasting.
Oh,
A
you're
lot of people do
welcome.
mention your name all the time. And they say, "Oh, I saw you on Guy Anderson." A lot of people say so.
Oh, well,
It's
yeah.
fun.
Well,
It's great.
I'm happy to
Yeah.
help. Anything I can do to help, I always will. But
Yeah, I do
thank you.
appreciate that. Hopefully, one day I can repay the favor in some way.
You're doing it right now, Charles. You're
I'm
doing it
doing
right
okay.
now.
Great. Thank you
Yeah,
very
you're
much.
doing it
Okay.
right now. Thank you. And yeah, thanks for being here with us.
Cool. Thank
And
you very much for having me on.
oh, it's a pleasure.
Till
Until
next time.
next time. Bye for now.
Bye bye.